Well, this just into CNN. Donald Trump wants the current House Speaker to keep the gavel. The president-elect endorsing Mike Johnson ahead of the new Congress's meeting later this week to elect a speaker. CNN's Elena Treen joins us now from West Palm Beach, Florida. Elena, a lot of us political observers were wondering, is he going to let Johnson twist in the wind? Is he going to weigh in? And now he has weighed in.
He has, and he has made it clear that he is backing House Speaker Mike Johnson for that leadership election on Friday. And really, this is a major boost to Mike Johnson, especially as many conservatives in the House have made it clear that they are not committed to backing Johnson. We've already heard from one Republican House member, Thomas Massey, reiterate today on X that he is planning to vote against Mike Johnson. I want to read for you what Donald Trump posted this morning on Truth Social. He said, quote, "Let's not blow this great opportunity which we have been given. The American people need, in all caps, immediate relief from all of the destructive policies of the last administration. Speaker Mike Johnson is a good, hardworking, religious man. He will do the right thing, and we will continue, again, in all caps, to win. Mike has my complete and total endorsement, MAGA." Now, look, Pamela, one thing that was unclear, like you mentioned, was whether or not Donald Trump was actually going to put his finger on the scale and come out and endorse Mike Johnson. Part of that is because a lot of people were skeptical after Donald Trump, just the week before the holiday recess, when members went home, in the 11th hour, kind of blew up the spending deal that Johnson had negotiated with the Senate and really complicated that fight for him. And so it was unclear where Donald Trump stood on this, but he's making it clear he wants Mike Johnson in the role. And part of this is because, look, Donald Trump, and he reiterated this in his post this morning, he really believes that he has a mandate to run Washington once he is sworn into office. And he wants somebody at the top role in the House to really be loyal to him, someone that he believes will work alongside with him and move to enact his agenda and his priorities. Mike Johnson has been trying to make it clear to him for months now, to Donald Trump, that he is a loyal servant to him. And so I think that's where a lot of this came down to.
We just learned that Trump has endorsed House Speaker Mike Johnson for the upcoming speaker race. What are your thoughts on that?
A massive boon to Mike Johnson. Listen, after the last spending deal, his speakership looked like it was in a lot of trouble. There are a lot of members of the Freedom Caucus who were unhappy with how he's handled things. We know how it went just last cycle when Kevin McCarthy went up to something like 15 votes before he was ultimately ousted and replaced by Mike Johnson. But this is the best gift he could have given him heading into the new year. I think it makes it far harder for members of Congress to vote against him. I imagine a few still will. But Donald Trump wants to hit the ground running. He doesn't want to be sworn into office and then have Congress basically at a standstill trying to elect a speaker for weeks on end. So huge win for Mike Johnson, but also Donald Trump signaling to House Republicans, I don't want you guys wasting any time. I have an agenda when I come in on day one, and we don't want the distractions we saw last time around.
Donald Trump just gave his complete and total endorsement to Mike Johnson to be reelected Speaker of the House this week. And we'll call it rather lengthy, Truth Social post. The president, towards the very end, the president-elect called Johnson a, quote, good, hardworking, religious man who will do the right thing and will continue to win. So will that be enough? Well, not for the one House Republican who's already said he won't vote for Johnson. Congressman Thomas Massey just posting on X, quote, "I respect and support President Trump, but his endorsement of Mike Johnson is going to work out about as well as his endorsement of Speaker Paul Ryan. We've seen Johnson partner with the Democrats to send money to Ukraine, authorize spying on Americans, and blow the budget." My panel is back with me now. We were just talking about how there's a whole lot on this calendar over the course of the next 10 days. First issue among them, this Friday, Congress is sworn into session and a new speaker needs to be selected. Will there be a new speaker, Carl Hulse, and who will it be?
Well, I think the Trump endorsement was much better than the alternative for Mike Johnson. No endorsement or even an anti-endorsement, but it definitely doesn't seal the deal for Mike Johnson. You saw Thomas Massey. There's other people who are already making noise, shall we say, about not supporting Mike Johnson. I think it's going to be tough. And we don't know yet the exact numbers of the Congress, right? Somebody might be sick, the number can fluctuate, but he can only lose one or two. So if you're in that position, I mean, you could see a repeat of the Kevin McCarthy marathon. It's hard to, but I think Trump is recognizing something right now, is that he can't have this instability as he starts out, right? You know, he's trying to get things done. He's trying to pull Mike Johnson across the finish line. I'm just not sure he's going to be enough. Donald Trump has proven very good at disruption, not so good all the time at getting somebody to the position where he wants them.
You know, Kristen, to Carl's point, I want to pull up our great congressional colleague Haley Talbot keeps a running list of people who aren't totally sold on it yet. It has been the gospel for us as we've covered how many of these fights over the course of the last years. And you've got people, Andy Biggs, Lauren Boebert, Tim Burchett, Eric Burleson, Michael Cloud. I mean, there's 10, 15 people here. Andy Biggs was just on Fox News right before this show saying he still wants to talk to Johnson, even in the wake of Donald Trump's endorsement. Take us inside the Trump team. Like, how are they thinking about this? Because he was pretty quiet about this for a while until today.
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of speculation that it was unclear which way he was going to go, particularly after he and Elon Musk completely tanked the CR that Johnson had worked on. I will say there was a moment after that happened in which Elon Musk came out in support of Speaker Mike Johnson, which gave the appearance, because of the relationship currently between Musk and Trump, that Trump was behind Johnson. He essentially said the speaker handled this well for what he was given on the table, which in Musk code for Trump, we're going to still stand by him. But he had been quiet. Now, to Carl's point, which I want to just point out here, one thing that we're forgetting is what Trump was doing when the Kevin McCarthy speaker fight was playing out, which was he was going to court every day. And at one point, he actually complained that there was not enough media attention on him because everybody was so focused on what was happening in Congress. Why couldn't we get this done? That's why we saw that Donald Trump was calling almost everyone in the House that he has a relationship with during that time saying, why can't you do it? Why can't you do it? Just trying to figure out how exactly to do it. So to your point, he doesn't want a fight on January 3rd. He doesn't want any kind of a fight leading into his inauguration. He wants this done because he's actually already seen that this is going to take away from him. Now, if you're Johnson, you got to feel pretty good about what happened. You're twisting in the wind. He's probably out there trying to figure out whether or not Trump was going to come out publicly. This is a win for Johnson. How it plays out obviously remains to be seen.
Yeah, biggest loser remains Kevin McCarthy.
Right, exactly.
Lambasted not by name on the president-elect's Truth Social account this weekend, as seems to be his lot in life from here on out. Susan, just taking a step back, and I think this gets to Carl's point a little bit, which is if you're the president-elect, you want 2 reconciliation bills, it seems like. You want to move extremely fast on your agenda issues right off the bat, and you're trying to figure out how to just handle getting a Speaker of the House on some level. What does this portend for the opening months of this second Trump administration?
Yeah, I think it's really important because, first of all, it reminds us that this is an unbelievably, really a historically narrow majority that Republicans have in the House of Representatives, depending on the vacancies and filling those vacancies created by Trump's own cabinet appointments, by the way. You're looking at a Speaker of the House having only a 1 or 2 vote margin for a significant period of time. That essentially means it's ungovernable. And it's actually remarkable that Mike Johnson has survived as long as he is. It's testament to the fact that there was so much chaos last year that, in a way, people just sort of gave up and went along with him. Will they continue to do so? Donald Trump's instincts here are to bypass Congress. Donald Trump he's almost the opposite of the kind of president who's going to, invest a huge amount in working patiently, building coalitions. That's just not the kind of politician Donald Trump is. He's the politician of the bully pulpit, of the Twitter pulpit, I guess we should call it, of the sort of middle of the night decree. In his first term as president, if you look at the record of that, what did he do? He consistently bypassed the U.S. Senate, for example, on appointments, essentially said, well, I'll just keep them as actings. And so he's going to want to act by executive decree, by executive order. And I think chaos in the House will only encourage Donald Trump in those instincts, which is just to say, forget about it. I'm just going to be the imperial president.
Well, to Susan's point, who wants this job? Right? I mean, who is going to step in and take this over? It is just a horrible job that is not going to get any better, and the demands are going to get really big. I mean, Republicans are going to have the trifecta that we all talk about. You can't blame anyone else now. This is going to be on you. So, I'm sure that people like the idea of being Speaker, but are sitting there watching this going, boy, I don't think I want to jump into that right now.